Right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this 9th episode of the Utopia of Hospitality web series, brought to you by Boma International Hospitality College, also known as BIHC. Okay, Boma International Hospitality College is a premier Pan-African hospitality college offering Swiss hospitality programs in hotel management and culinary arts. We're located in the heart of Nairobi. We offer vibrant and diverse learning opportunities with over 16 nationalities in our student body. Our programs also include refresher courses and professional development program with industry placements in the region and around the world. The Utopia of Hospitality is a conversation with frontliners in the midst of the COVID-19 disruption and an opportunity to get insights on what the future holds with handling of the new norm. As panelists with us today, we have the pleasure of having Ms. Vickie Munyanga and Mr. Mohammed Hersi. Vickie is an industry commercial growth expert specializing in African hospitality space, who is well-versed with the cultural diversities and platforms across the African continent and enabled to effectively engage with its dynamic target audiences. She is known as a proactive self-starter and an enthusiastic change agent with a proven record of delivering results, efficiency management, cost reduction, revenue advancement with exceptional sales and marketing strategies in challenging markets. Mohammed Hersi is a leading personality in Kenya's tourism industry with vast experience at most senior levels of management. He continues to make a positive and effective contribution to shaping the future of the African hospitality industry, providing leadership and liaising with government authorities. He has held top positions such as Regional General Manager with Sarova Hotels, CEO at Heritage Hotels, and Group CEO at Sun Africa Hotels, among others. Currently, he is the Group Director of Operations at Pollmans Tours Safaris, as well as Chairman of the Kenya Tourism Federation. So if I may get straight to our panelists, Vickie, maybe you could tell us where you're calling us from, right? And how is the situation so far with you?
Thank you, Alan. I'm calling from Nairobi, working from home, so in Nairobi. And just to say a bit about COVID. COVID is a big problem that we have right now. And I was just trying to analyze the issues around it. And looking at COVID, the travel restriction is what makes it very different from the previous viruses we've had before. You know, if you look at 1918, when we had the Spanish flu, we had 500 infections, but there was no travel restrictions. Then fast forward to 2009, we had the swine flu with over 1 billion infections, 284K deaths, but then no travel restrictions, but we had screening at the airports. Then now COVID 2019, we've gone to 6.5 million infections. Of course, everything has changed. And almost all countries have closed their borders, bringing travel to a big halt. And that's what makes really a big difference, because we haven't experienced this before. And this is what has really affected both both economy and hospitality in general being affected big time, because nobody can move around, nobody can travel. We rely mostly on business travel. We rely mostly on leisure guests, meeting and events, clients coming into the country, domestic tourism, but then with the restriction, including internal borders, has made it a bit very difficult, and which is necessary to be able to contain the virus. So where we sit right now, the impact is huge, and I think we'll get into more details as we discuss on that.
Definitely. Thank you for that. Mohammed, maybe you can tell us where you're calling from and how is the situation for you so far?
Thank you, Alan. Good afternoon, Vickie, and all the attendees. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here and to be invited by Boma International Hospitality College. Now, I am in Mombasa, yeah, which is under lockdown just like Nairobi. Yeah,
yes.
but we hope that this session of movements will be lifted so that we go back to normal lives. We were anticipating and hoping that it was going to be lifted on the 6th, but that didn't happen. And we're still optimistic that it may be lifted before the 30 days. Same thing applies to Nairobi, because when the capital city and Mombasa are both closed, then nothing happens in the country. Now, what is COVID and how has it affected us so far? Kenya's tourism has gone through turmoils in the past, and specifically on matter security. Now, anytime anything touches on the safety of a traveler, then that means there'll be no travel. When it comes to terrorism, it was easy to deal with it because at least you can physically put barriers that you're going to, some measures to mitigate against the risk. But this one caught all of us flat-footed, not only Kenya, but globally. And we're still groping in the dark, not knowing what actually hit us. Because when this thing was reported, sometimes in December and then first week of January, we thought it's just one of those things that happen in China and it's going to be over. And in March, it finally hit us that actually we are affected. And there was no travel. So the moment there's no travel, then our rooms will be empty. And the moment our rooms are empty, it means that hotel business will not be able to go on as usual. At the same time, tour operators are affected, airlines are affected, so everybody has been affected. And to cut a long story short, I'll tell you, this will be a long one. The most important thing is, they say what happens to you is not the tragedy. The tragedy is how you deal with what has happened to you. Hopefully, the experience we've had on how we've handled, terrorism and bounce back in terms of marketing ourselves and promoting destination, that hopefully will come back, to help us. And we just hope that this thing, especially the cessation of travel and opening the skies, happens sooner than later. Thank you, Alan.
Great, thank you very much. Now, let me ask a question here that both of you could answer. I'll start with Vickie. Within your organization, I'm sure you go through sessions where you update each other on the ongoings. So how often does Radisson Group, assess the situation and keeping you updated on what to do next?
Okay, so we're on the lookout. Thanks, Alan. We're on the lookout throughout, but we are doing a weekly call out of our Middle East and Africa office. We are doing a weekly call with all the general managers every Thursday, just to give an update of what is going on COVID. So our teams are very well informed of what is going on. And this is information coming from research from analysts, what is happening in every different market, what can be done, and what protocols we are putting in place. It's discussed every Thursday.
How is it on your end, Mohammed?
I wear several hats, and we are both in the business that I do. We are both in tours, and we're also in hotels. On the tour side, we account for close to 35% of inbound tourism in Kenya. And specifically when it comes to the coast, we handle virtually 80% of the charters that land in Mombasa through our partners, the TUI group, which is the largest operator in the world. Now, TUI is a global company, and just like Radisson and many other big chains, we own hotels, we own airlines, we own ship cruises, name it. And they update us virtually every week on what's happening, specifically when it comes to protocols and guidelines on what we need to do. And then apart from that, also on the business focus globally on what's going on and where they would like to go next and what they're planning to do. On the hotel side, we operate the Boma Beach Resort on the South Coast, which is one of the largest resorts in Diani. And equally, we are updating ourselves through most of the health audit firms, the likes of Bureau Veritas and SGS, to make sure that we stay on top of things. And obviously, anything that we do must comply with WHO and Ministry of Health, because you cannot do anything that may be in conflict with the WHO. And that is what a lot of players need to realize, and not our attendees here. My appeal is that anything you do must not conflict with WHO. It must be in compliance, that anything that we do is actually acceptable to them. Yeah, so that's what we are doing, and we must make sure also as a destination that anything that we do is acceptable to the global world health standards. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. Vickie, we are aware that there were several projects that were underway that could have been halted because of the pandemic. And by projects, I mean upcoming hotels within the continent. Would you be able to give us a picture of which specific projects have now been halted because of the situation?
No, thank you, Alan. The pandemic has come a bit with a bit of recession as well, and affecting the economy and all that. And as a management company, we work with owners, who fund these projects, and across the globe, everyone is affected. So I cannot pick a project that has been stalled. What had just happened is just delayed, not stalled, just delayed because most of the things are still stuck in ports or still not coming in, but nothing has come to a halt at this point. It just delayed, just like any other project that is ongoing now, with workforce working from home, with restrictions in travel and movement that has affected and is causing delays in most of those things. So not really coming to a stop, but just delayed, but everything stays on course.
Yeah, great. Mohammed, with your organization, and I'm referring specifically to Pollmans, how effectively is the relationship being held right now in order to ensure that there's a continuity when the pandemic eventually is over? You mentioned that TUI is an important partner. Okay, so what are the promising stories or theories that we can look at right now and say, okay, when the pandemic is over, we're going to pick up from there?
Firstly, Kenya is a favorite destination. Apart from clients loving Kenya, the agents, the tour operators, people abroad, specifically in Europe, love Kenya. And they're all very eager, and they're asking us, when will the airspace be opened? When will flights resume to Kenya? So that is a positive thing. The fact that they're actually asking us, when are you guys going to open for business again? So it's not a matter of if business will resume, it's a matter of when. Yeah. Okay. So moving forward, apart from the main partners, we also have a lot of agents that we work with globally in North America, in Canada, Europe, Australia. All these people are very, very keen to start coming back to Kenya. And that's why it's important that as a destination, we are ready. All the hotels, all the tour operators, in this case for us, all the hotels are our suppliers. So they need to make sure that they're compliant with the regulations that conform to WHO, and they also conform to the Federation of Tour Operators, the FTO code. Although COVID-19 is a whole new thing that still people don't understand it. When you look even at the World Health Organization, they keep on switching. Today they will say this, tomorrow they say something else. It keeps on changing. But the bottom line is that we are getting ready, not only as a company, the other hat as well, as the chairman of Kenya Tourism Federation, we work very closely with Kenya Tourism Board so that we reposition the country and get ready. Because if we take too long to put our acts together, other destinations will move fast and the cheese will be gone. So we don't want to find ourselves with nothing. Thank you.
Yeah, true, very true.
If I could
Great,
just add something, if I could just add something to what Mohammed said, you know, the crisis probably has given us some grace period to get everything, all our acts together. By the time recovery comes, then we are able to face it with the demand of the new traveler. So we've got some time, and I know most tour operators, most hotels, venue providers are really working just to comply with health and safety, which has become like the number one now. Previously travelers were asking for price, and then they will ask for safety, for security. But now the new traveler, that has changed. The first question they're asking now, even before price, the first thing they're asking is health and safety, and then also looking at flexibility. And now we have this time, we have this grace period now, as we wait for the borders to be opened, for us to be able now to come up with innovations and just get ready in readiness to meet the new traveler, because the traveler has changed completely.
Great. Yes. Now, in line with what you just said, Vickie, would you be able to highlight to us operationally, okay, what are these steps that Radisson Group has taken in order, one, to keep people trained or informed of the new standards, and what are these trainings? How do they look like?
I'm not sure I can speak on that, but I'll just touch it briefly. I just say, as a company, health and safety is really, really key for us. And we've been working on training our teams. On protocols, we've got safety and protocols in place for rooms, for meeting and events, everything in place that we're already sharing with clients just to show them what we have ready. We are ready when we open with our safety and protocol in place. We partnered with companies, like SGS, we partnered with WTTC, just to make sure that we are aligned to what is needed, and we are compliant to what is expected. Our teams are really trained right now. We are putting all the measures in place to make sure the guest safety, it's key, and health and safety is key for us. So we have measures in place, and the trainings are going on very well. You must have seen that on social media, some of our hotels posting trainings going on from different departments, just what they're doing for health and safety. So it's something as a company we are taking really seriously and making sure that it's running from the top to the bottom.
Yes, that is definitely something that is visible. For example, yesterday or the day before yesterday, there were posts on social media about trainings going on in several Radisson hotels. Let me ask you, how is the competition analysis right now? Okay, because when business was okay, competition was there. How is it right now, and how are the competitors taking you? How are you taking the competition?
I'm one person who's like using the word competition, because actually we are not competitors. We complement each other, and we complement to form the destination. And most of the time, competition is brought because of demand. Right now, there's no demand. There's no demand. There are no guests coming into the city. So right now, each and every hotel is trying to look for every opportunity that is out there to be able to bring business when the borders open, or even to be able to take care of the little business. If you look at STR, it's still showing Nairobi has 16% occupancy. And this is basically long stay guests, people who are here for projects, who are still in the country, or people who are probably held up with the restrictions when they came in. So each hotel right now, it's busy, and I'm seeing lots of conversation going on, people coming together, the competition, director of sales from different cities coming together, people talking to see how we can make the destination better. I think right now what we need to collaborate and pull together as a destination Kenya, because people are not going to buy Radisson Blue Upper Hill. They're first going to buy the destination Kenya. Is destination Kenya ready to get guests coming into Kenya? So we need to collaborate together with the government, with the private sector, with the tour operators, to make sure the destination is ready for clients to come in. Once clients are sure they can go to Kenya, then it will come down now to the tour operators like Mohammed, the hoteliers like Mohammed and ourselves. It will come down to that. So I think as we move from post-COVID, we need to come out of that competition, like this is mine, because guests are no longer going to buy a product, a property. They're going to be buying now, is the destination safe for us? If I get in there, am I safe to be there? And then now it will come down to look at the venue providers that have the safety protocols that are needed and that are making it easy for the traveler to come in. And also the venue providers who are really understanding what is the priority of the traveler. So when it comes to competition right now, it is more, for me, my call would be, let's people collaborate together. Let's get Kenya as a destination ready, and then we will get the business to come in and fill in the hotels like it has done previously. But right now we've got to get Kenya ready first.
Yeah. All right, great. Mohammed, if you compare, in line with what Vickie just said, if you compare Kenya as a destination and the measures we've taken and the training we're conducting right now, how prepared would we be compared to other destinations to pick up immediately the pandemic is over?
Thank you, Alan. Firstly, let me take the country perspective.
Yes.
And when I say country perspective, is because COVID is not just one industry thing. It is a whole thing that has affected the entire nation, and it goes globally because everybody has left, have gone back home. Everybody, we just realized that everybody wants to die closer home. Everybody took the earliest flight. Even Vickie came back to Kenya very, very quickly.
Yeah.
As much as people say, traveling is fun, everybody was running home. Yeah. Okay. Every single day, I would like to commend the government for announcing the number of COVID patients and the status of the country. That's very, very important. And to our viewers, to the attendees here, the reason why we are doing that is because the day you want to open for business, the international, these source countries, in this case, let's take the example of US, UK. We are currently on level 4, which is do not travel to Kenya. It is red.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if Magical Kenya today went out and said, Kenya is open for business, Jambo Bwana, Karibu Kenya. You can say whatever you say. But as long as you have the red tag on you, nothing will happen. Now, what will happen is that the source countries, firstly, will get in touch with their embassies here. The home office, rather, they will get in touch with their embassies here. What is the position? And they'll be told exactly what it was. Was the country reporting on time? Because they know what is happening on the ground, isolation centers, number of deaths, and all that. Then World Health Organization will also need to give their report. Now, if you disregarded WHO, then you're in big trouble because WHO will say, well, we are not very sure about this country. But in Kenya, they even have an office here. They have the figures, they have the data, and they'll happily say this is how Kenya handled the case. So Kenyans should not get tired or CS Mutai Kagwe or Mwangangi coming up to speak every other single day, every day actually. So it is a reason why we are doing that, so that we comply. Forget about COVID. Even the case of polio or cholera outbreak, WHO will eventually give the status report of a country. And that's the reason why we must comply. And once that is done, and now we open our skies, what will happen? We'll go back to them and tell them, look here, now we are ready. And how are we ready? Vickie touched on the hotel. Currently, as Kenya Tourism Federation, in conjunction with the Ministry of Tourism and Ministry of Health, we have a very elaborate plan, and our CS, Honorable Balala, appointed a task force the other day, which is representing entire industry, in fact, far beyond just tourism. We even have the retail sector to come up with protocols. We are almost there today. We were looking at the almost final document. People are saying other people have done it. Why are you taking too long? Even if we gave you the protocols last week, it's of no use to you because nobody's coming anyway. But we are going to give you a document that is foolproof. It is airtight. It's almost a 46-page document that will touch on arrival, firstly, all the airlines, what they need to do, which is complying with also WHO. After the airline, when you get to Nairobi or to get to Mombasa, what happens next at the airport? Airport has already put in place a lot of measures, right from disembarking from the aircraft, the gangways, coming in, taxiing, all the way up to immigration, the health port, and then you come into your luggage. All that has been laid out very, very clearly. The moment you get there, we have planned, or rather, you can, the meet and greet, if you have already arranged for a tour operator or any travel agent to pick you, there are also mechanisms for that. Even the local taxi drivers are being trained in conjunction with the airport authorities on how they are going to handle all these arrivals in this, COVID time. The moment you leave from there, now you go to your hotel. Hotels are very prepared. In fact, Kenya Association of Hotel Keepers and Caterers was the first team that came up with a full protocol. There's almost 9-page document, and I must commend them. In fact, the others are the ones who are delaying them. But today we are putting everything together, so I'll move on. When it comes to tour operations, now that you've had your breakfast, you've gone to the hotel, one of the things that will change in hotels, Alan, and to our attendees here, is how we do business. It's in the past, you like to hang around the lobby. This time round, you want to walk through that lobby like lightning. In fact, you want to avoid the place. The less areas you touch, the better. You'll see a lot of signs that says, don't touch, don't touch. Keep your hands to yourself. And in the process, also don't touch your face so that you do not, help this virus, to move. Things like, the beautiful stuff, like we used to have this nice, beautiful Radisson blue breakfast. We'll have to take a breakfast, and even if you're going to have the buffets in all our hotels, in fact, the resort in Mombasa is going to be quite limited, and we will be moving and speaking for you, even as a college, there'll be a lot of pre-portioning, where everything is actually portioned, so that once you pick an item, you go with it, and you can go have it, whether it is salad, whether it's your dessert. So we'll only be left with one common area, which is the hot area, which is the main course, and a lot of it will have to be live cooking, because we're also trying to avoid a scenario where people are touching serving spoon, and that becomes the touch point, which ends up, help to spread the virus. And if it's not possible to do live cooking, in case your place is enclosed and the exhaust system is not that great, then what will happen is that the staff will have to serve you. And even for you now as a college, those are some of the things that we will be doing. We have to do it with style, without looking juakali. It has to be done in a nice way, so that you do not dilute the experience, you do not dilute the beautiful cuisine that has been made by the kitchen team. So those are some of the changes that is happening. Then when it comes to tours, same thing again. You'll see a lot of all the stuff, whether it's tours, whether it is hotels, mask. To put on a mask is going to be a must. There's no discussion about that. Yes. Sanitizing, washing your hand, again, is here with us. The good news about the tour operators, I would say this. When we all move to the Land Cruisers, we don't have a middle set. So actually, looks like we were compliant COVID long time ago. So there is a gap. And because, again, from 9-seater, we hardly take 5 people or 7 people. Again, the numbers are almost 50%, okay? And we will try as much as possible to put one traveling party together. It's a family of 5. They've been together anyway. They've been living in a house together anyway. They've been on the same flight anyway. So it becomes a little bit easier. So those are some of the things that our tour operators, will be looking at. And because of the temperatures here in Africa, Alan, we should not be overly worried when it comes to swimming pool. This thing does not survive anywhere above 25 degrees Celsius. You come to Mombasa, we are hitting 34, 36. I think by the time it's coming out of somebody's mouth, it's already dead. That's how I look at it. But with chlorination, WHO have clearly made it that with chlorinated water in the pools, again, the virus doesn't stand a chance. However, we will still have to do social distancing. The pool beds that are so close to each other, gone. So those are some of the changes that we are undertaking. And I just hope that that brings you up to speed on what the industry is doing and how prepared are we. In terms of Africa as a destination, we are comparing notes. The other day we had a webinar for the entire Africa. Everybody is doing their bit to make sure that they are prepared. For me, I'm a Pan-Africanist, and I love Africa. I want everybody to do well. After all, the tourism that comes to Africa is less than 5% globally. So let's not fight over 5%. Let's look at, can we now get 10%? Because when you look at the mortality rate in Africa, thank God, touch wood, the death numbers have not been that high. We've been told you guys will start dying in April. We did not die. We were told maybe you start dying in May. We did not die. Now we have been told maybe you start dying in June, July. God willing, it will not happen. And that is one of the positives that we need to tell the world. Mortality rate for some reason in Africa is very low. And that's something we need to be happy about and tell the world, like, look here, you're actually safer in this part of the world. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much for that. Vickie, you mentioned about the new client, or if we say the new demands from clients. In your experience so far, what are the questions that the clients now ask in terms of being sure that they can come and visit a certain destination or a certain hotel? What are the questions you have faced? And then on top of that, are there any reassurances that are being asked for, like certifications or something like that?
Okay, so I'm going to address different travelers. When you come to business travelers, people coming on business who will come here for 3-4 nights and out, and mostly staying in city hotels. Their main concern right now is safety, health and safety. The first thing they want to know is, what are you doing? What measures do you have in place? So first, I'll go back. It's at what is Kenya as a country? If once everything is open from the airport, when I arrive, am I safe from the airport? What protocols, what health and protocols have been put in place? And that's why now what Mohammed says, as a destination, those protocols have been put in place. Then when they come to the hotel, they want to be able to know from the moment they enter from the reception or from the gate to their room, to their departure, what safe measures are being put in place. And to an extent that the traveler right now want to see even videos. You know, previously you tell them this is what we have in place. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of hotel groups and hospitality, including airlines, they're doing lots of video because people want to be able to see, to believe this is what is going on in that destination. And then the next thing they're asking is flexibility. What if I book for September? And then after 30 days, you know, we got 30 days. After 30 days, there's another extension and another extension till September. How covered am I? They just want to know that you're making it easy for them to travel. And you can see across, even airlines are doing that, where you're allowing them to have easy cancellations, flexibility in the booking. That is what they're looking for. And without that, most people don't want to travel. And again, we also need to be aware that if you look at specialists like STR, they're talking of 2020 having a drop of almost 40%. If you look at corporate travelers, if you've been following on their webinars, they're saying corporate travel may drop between 30 to 60%. This is because now, one, the economy, they're saving on cost. Two, the Zoom and everyone else, the virtual online can be able to work. But then let's face it, in Africa, their businesses, we must do face-to-face. You know, there are also some countries may not be able to do those online. So people will need to travel. So for that travel, they need to be assured of what protocols are being put in place. And this is from food to everything when they come in to the destination, what has been put in place. And then price is coming almost number 3 now, but then flexibility comes in as number 2. So when you move into the meeting and event traveler who is looking, they want to know what they're really keen on, the social distancing, what have you put on your meeting and events rooms, the spacing you put in the meeting, how you're going to be dealing with food in those rooms, how you're going to be dealing with cleaning. And this is where what Mohammed talked about, buffet used to be for meetings and events. So right now, we may not get into that. Everything may have to be almost individually packaged just to secure. Most buyers, that's what they're asking for. And now we are getting lots of questions, people asking, what labels of approval do you have? And labels of approval or stamp of approval, labels of approval is which, have you been certified? Have you done any accredited by the SGS, the diversity, and all those companies to show that you are in line with what is expected. They also want to know, we used to have Safe Hotels as a certification for hotels, and now we have Safe Travels as a certification now, which is being done by WTTC. So we are getting now the meetings and event more asking for those things more that were not previously there. Previously, they just wanted to know what security measures do you have? And I would imagine every venue had a video of all the security measures. But now we've moved now to doing videos on what we are doing on health and safety, and also proving through label and stamp of approval to the client to know you are ready. And not just you saying we are ready, someone else, another third party, coming, checking and doing an audit, doing a test and verification and giving you the certification that you are ready for that. So we are seeing lots of customers now asking for that.
Great, thank you very much. Mohammed, I've got a question here from some of our viewers. After the pandemic is over, okay, or towards the end of it, how attractive do you see the hospitality and tourism education sector being?
Thank you, Alan. If anybody feels that is tourism industry going to be attractive and will it remain attractive? Answer is a big yes. Because the world has seen different pandemics in the past. And virtually it's every 100 years from the history that we read that we've had pandemics. Now, if the world has been able to overcome pandemics in the past, like the Spanish flu or the plague and whatever, when medicine, the world of medicine was not even as developed, there's no doubt in my mind that 2020, we should be able to handle COVID. And if you decide not to choose a career in tourism, then I wonder what else you want to do, because COVID is everywhere.
Yeah.
COVID is in airlines. COVID is in hospitals. COVID is also in the retail market. You can be it's everywhere. So you cannot run away from it. And tourism at the end of the day is a global industry. We may have discovered Zoom and all that, but let me tell you, the physical meeting means a lot. It will still happen, because when you meet one-on-one, it makes a huge difference when you're able to put the name to the face. Even now, when we're meeting the way we are meeting, it's totally a different ballgame when you meet one-on-one. And when people also travel, you get to see other places. That's the whole essence about tourism. And tourism did not start in this generation. It started in the biblical times when people moved from one place to the other, including prophets. So will tourism going to stop because of COVID? Answer is certainly no. And for Johnson Bogwa, who asked that question, please feel free to continue studying tourism and hospitality, because we are going nowhere. If anything, we are going to get even better. And when you look at hygiene levels, always, you are more safer in a hotel working environment than any other industry, because we always place safety and hygiene top up there. And then I can also question, there's another question I can see here. How are those working in rooms division be safeguarded? Yeah, and I'm sure Vickie will be able to touch on that. But what I can say is that we also have our own PPEs. It may not be as elaborate as what you find in hospitals, because you're not dealing with a patient per se. Remember, all these international patients will have gone through a COVID test before they get here, which is below 2 weeks. But in the long run, I'm sure that will also be dropped, because we've noticed that if everybody wears a mask, whether you're positive or not, really, and you don't have the signs like coughing and sneezing and name it, then the chance of actually transmitting the virus is very, very low. And that's why Ministry of Health has announced the home care. So suddenly we are demystifying, this COVID. It's good we started on an extreme, but we are moving more towards now to a reasonable, level. Tourism is here to stay. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. For an educational institution like ours, okay, this is a question to both of you. what can we do to ensure that we are online with demands going on, and how can we be even more associated with institutions like yours going forward?
I think Vickie can go
Vickie?
first.
Okay, sure, I can go.
Yeah.
So I think for any student right now who is in school studying tourism, as Mohammed said, and looking at what is going on, the way the industry has really been affected, would probably have some second thoughts. But then you also need to look at it without COVID, how the industry has thrived previously. And we have continued supply coming into the city. You know, if you look at Nairobi as a city, how many hotels we have in the pipeline coming in? Those hotels, once post-COVID and everything comes back to normal, will need to have people. We need to have people working in those institutions. And we do not have enough workforce. So we'll still have space for these people who are in colleges right now. And I think it is also a good learning place for anybody in institution to see things can go the other way around. And when they go through, you don't give up, you just need to come up with new innovations. And this is where now institutions like yours now would really help the industry like ours by coming up with innovations, coming up with training the mass for people just to understand. Because right now the information out there is what is in the media, what is it people are reading online and everything else. But we have students in the northern part or other parts of Kenya who may not have access to that. But then how can institutions like yours assist to reach these people and educate them to understand what tourism is all about and what it can do for them? Things like now health and safety, health and safety for tourism professionals. This is something institutions like yours can come in and give this service to the hotels, because the hotel is something they always have it. But you can imagine if they have an institution that can do this for their staff, where they can send, if I recall some years back, people used to go for refresher courses in Italy. I believe maybe Mohammed would correct me, maybe people still do that. But now you can only imagine if you have institutions like yours now having this health and safety, which has become a big thing, for institutions like ours to send their staff to go for those kind of trainings and come back. And also training on, there's going to be lots of mental health in regards to COVID, which is already there. And people need help. And this is where institutions like yours can come in and help the hospitality training and speaking to their teams on mental health and how to live post-COVID. Because as Mohammed said, COVID is here and it's going to go away. The other pandemics have come in, and as I said initially, the only difference with this pandemic and the others is the travel restrictions. The others didn't have that. So the bounce back was very quicker. But then this is coming and going, and our staff will be left there needing mental health training and just how to deal post-COVID. And this is where institutions like yours can come in really and help the hospitality industry.
Great, thank you very much. How would you respond to that, Mohammed?
The role of learning institutions like Boma International Hospitality College. Right now, when you look at health and safety, that is number one item on anybody's concerns.
Yes.
You recall even when we had the Ebola threat from West Africa, and our airlines suffered, even hotels suffered in Kenya because Europe, America thought that Ebola was right here, and they thought Sierra Leone was next door to Nairobi. Yeah, because people don't even understand the geography of Africa. Now, your role is to embrace health and safety even at a higher level. You're already doing it, and this is what we asked you before you even opened this forum, that we need to have now COVID and any other virus, when anything that may look like COVID, so that transmission is reduced. One of the things you'll notice today, is that this is actually a season for flu, traditionally. But how many of us have flu? Touch wood? Very few. Why? because suddenly we are all washing we are washing our hands like there's no tomorrow. We are not shaking hands, because that is one of the modes of transmitting the virus. And for me, when we look at people from the Oriental world, China, Thailand, Vietnam, all these guys, they like masking, they like wearing masks. Then we wonder, why do they do that? Now I understand why they're doing that, because if anybody has any sort of flu, they don't want to take a chance and they do not want to spread it. And I'm glad one of the things we are going to pick up from this COVID is that if anybody has a flu, whether COVID has a vaccine or not, then you need to make sure that you mask so that you do not spread the virus. You also do not shake hands. Even before COVID, I know a few people who will never shake your hand and they'll tell you, I have serious flu and I don't want to transmit it. But we had a situation where people just don't care. And what happens? You spread it. Now, coming to college, those are the things that we need to teach. Going back to basics. Because what is COVID and how are we fighting it? Washing hands, sanitize. Those are basic things that we were taught from childhood. Suddenly, availability of water. Everywhere there's water now. People are able to wash their hands. There's soap, there's everything. Because that is the way you're going to fight COVID. And that is where how also the bacteria, are spread. So our hotels are going to be very safe places to visit. And this is what institutions like you have to train people, and you'll also have it part of your syllabus. This challenge also we are giving you. Come up with programs, because the Cornells of this world are doing it. Lausanne's of this world are doing it. You guys also do it and say, you know what? We have a specific course for room stewards on how to handle things inside a room. We have a specific for kitchen stewards. We have a specific role, training for pool attendants. So we'd like to see that happening, and trust you me, many institutions would love to be part of it. And don't forget to operators, because we have vehicles as well. Those vehicles must be sanitized. Those vehicles must be made sure that hygienically prepared to receive these clients. The last thing you want is somebody who has made all the efforts to remain negative from Canada, North America, wherever, and when they're leaving, they turn positive, and they will not be able to forgive Kenya for a long time. We don't want that to happen.
True. Thank you very much for that. Some of the things that people have been sort of afraid of, especially locally, within the country, is we know that COVID-19 is worldwide. Touching on areas, for example, the Middle East, there has been this closure of hotels left, right, center, if we put it that way, and the scare is a good number of the workforce, especially from Kenya, that is already out there, will probably be coming back. So the competition for employment is going to be quite massive, coming forward. Is this a discussion that you are facing in your organization, Vickie?
Alan, hotel closure, most of it was just necessitated by the current situation, because it was either you decide the cost of keeping the hotel open and closing it, which worked better, and that's why you see, like in Europe, many hotels closed, and Middle East as well, Africa as well, hotel closed. And this was just to be able to cater, to be able to keep your teams on board, because at times you're better off keeping it closed than you can be able to pay your staff, as opposed to opening with no clients. So Middle East is going to bounce back and is already showing some signs of recovery. And yes, people stayed home, but they haven't traveled back because nobody is flying out. And as soon as it bounces back, these people will go back to employment. And if you go to hotels in Dubai, you'll find so many Kenyans. Every hotel you'll go, you'll find a very big percentage of Kenya, because Kenyans are known for their warm, inborn hospitality that Kenyans have. So I believe very soon those Kenyans who are out there will still get their jobs. will get their jobs back. Even if not the same company, they will get in another organization, because this has not stopped hotels from coming up. And then also in Kenya, I mean, look at the incoming supply. There's still lots of hotel under development, and there is no sign to show they're not going to come in, because this is a global problem, not just Kenya. So as soon as business bounces back, this, the development of these properties will go on. And as soon as business is able to bounce back, hotels will be able to retain what they have, or even grow more, or even grow from what they have. So job insecurity from people coming from Middle East, I don't think it should be really on top of our head right now. What should be on top of our head is what have I acquired during this period when I've been home? What new skills have I learned? Because it's all about competitiveness in the marketplace. What have I learned? Have you just been sitting home? What else have I been able to do? There's been a lot of online courses. All universities abroad, they've had a lot of online courses for people just to further their skills. So we should be asking ourselves is, what skills do I have? What have I been able to learn? How can I make myself better? Who do I need to speak to? Which people do I need to talk to mentor me to become more competitive when business opens back and get better at that, than looking at job loss from people coming from Dubai or other markets, because those markets will bounce back, and they'll still need more people. Even the people here who are worried, most of them may find themselves out there going there, because those markets will bounce back just the way Kenya is going to bounce back, and we'll still need to have workforce in our hotels or hospitality operations.
True. Mohammed, is this a question that you have faced?
I think firstly, Alan, we look at tourism. The tourism numbers globally have been on a very serious upward trajectory. When you look at the numbers, we were currently, 2019, we were looking at almost 1.45 billion travelers globally. 10 years ago, we were close to half of that. We hit the 1 billion mark, was it 2012 or 2013? And we've had very good growth, extremely good. So it's sometimes good to also celebrate the victories we've had. This is just one of the hurdles that we are facing. And as I said, 100 years ago, people went through the same thing. 200 years ago, people went through the same thing. Actually, every 100 years, people are going through similar thing. So it's not going to be permanent. Is it challenging? Answer is yes. Is it surmountable? Of course, yes. We can overcome it. Now, we have a lot of Kenyans who are in the Middle East and globally. We have a lot of Kenyans also in the US, name it, very many places. They're actually not here because they were all locked up wherever they are. The good thing is that the Middle East countries, they have thriving and working airlines. And the airlines are hungry to fly back. They're waiting to go back to the air. Talk of the Emirates, talk of Etihad, talk of Arabia, all of them. Talk of Qatar. These are people, these are companies that are all very eager. In fact, they will hit the skies earlier than many European airlines. If anything, they are the ones that will help us revive our tourism before the likes of BA decide that it's safer to come back to Kenya or Lufthansa or even Air France. So you'll be seeing Qataris, you'll see Turkish Airlines all coming back, and of course, a national carrier. We're very lucky to have a national carrier because at least we have an airline that's going to connect you directly, to the destination. Just imagine the guys who don't have an airline, who cannot even tap to any of these regional or international markets. I pity them, but we have a national carrier. So the thing is, will we bounce back? The answer is yes. I think I consider this more like timeout. I think the growth has been crazy, and suddenly, people are saying, I think we've been very unfair to Mother Earth, and Mother Earth is saying, I'm tired, let me now heal. Suddenly Mount Kilimanjaro has snow, Mount Kenya has snow. You go to Mara today, the number of animals, very many. Rivers are flowing. Things are actually looking better globally everywhere. Places like, Thailand, even in the US, where you never used to see wild animals, suddenly animals are coming out because there's no longer mass tourism and the numbers that used to make them, they're uncomfortable. So I think it's another way of looking at it. And hopefully, by the time tourism is coming back, for me, a delicate ecosystem like Amboseli, will have recovered, because Amboseli has really been high traffic and is a very small park. Even a place like Nakuru will have recovered by then. Even Mara itself, and even Savo. So we hope that this time out we've been given, we should be able to recover, and anybody who is out of employment is our belief, and hopefully that they will be able to get back their jobs, and that's our intention.
Great, thank you very much for that positive insight. As time is going, I would like to ask, what advice would you offer generally, for people who are in this industry, those who are still active, those who are not active, but then they're looking forward to come back and get back to work? What would be your advice going forward? Vickie, I'll start with you.
I think we just need to stay very positive, because this is a very temporary situation. It's not going to be permanent, just like any other adult that you meet in life. We need to stay very positive and just get ready to meet a new traveler who will be more aware of what they need, who will have different priorities, and just get ready out there to serve customers, promote Destination Kenya, and get more people coming in. We just need to stay positive and always remember, some situation when it's way beyond you, you leave it to God, because there are things that we've got no control of. We don't know, nobody knew about COVID, but it is here with us. One question we should be asking ourselves, what has been our key takeout from COVID? What have we learned from COVID? Because I'm sure everybody has a story of what they've been able to learn, from financially, to physical, mentally, we've been able to learn from that. And then how can you take this knowledge that you've learned moving forward, even as you go back to your place of work? How can you use this to talk to people? How can you use this to change your life and change other people's lives? And it's just to stay positive, because it is something temporary that is coming to pass. And I believe the future is going to be even brighter than what we have now. We are more aware, we are more ready, we've gotten better during this situation, and the future is going to be better. As everybody now gets ready to go back to work, you need to go like a really transformed person to give 150% more than you did. And I believe the future is going to be better for all of us.
Mohammed, there's a question here that has been forwarded. It says the future of tourism is the millennials, and we're talking of both employees and consumers, So what should we be doing to service this dynamic and adventurous new travel tourist?
Okay, Alan, I did see the question from Bill. And the number one is the issue of domestic tourism. And the study that was done and the campaign that was done, I must thank Kenya Tourism Board, with the Tembea Kenya campaign that was done for the past almost 10 years after the 2008 post-election violence, where we started embracing domestic tourism in a big way. 2019, the study that was done, 56% of the travelers were actually domestic. When it comes to the beach resort and the safari lodges. When you look at Mara and other places, 3-4 months is when you get the international travelers. The rest of the time, a lot of Kenyans and the region are occupying those beds. So we are not new to domestic tourism like other countries that have not even embraced their own. We embraced our own. And my appeal, and this is something, Alan, for you as an institution, we keep on getting issues to do with discrimination, where people say, I go to a hotel, I am not treated like, this other race. And that's something that we really, really need to inculcate in our young people, that they need to treat people equally, first come, first serve, etc. So that there's that empathy, aspect. On millennials, this is certainly a market for us. Now, millennials may not even have the money to spend, because most of them are still spending their parents' money, but they take the calls. Okay, And forget even about the millennials, the young ones who are under 15. These are the guys who actually take the call. These are the guys who go to booking.com. These are the guys who go to TripAdvisor. These are the guys who actually review and say, you know what, I don't like this review and I don't think we're going to this place. There are specific hotels in Mombasa today. If you don't take your 12-year-old to that particular hotel, they've not been to Mombasa. They will tell you, hey, we haven't gone to that hotel, we have not gone to Mombasa, or we've not gone to Diani. That's how powerful they are. And if you, as a father or as a mother, you decide, no, we are changing, you might as well go on that holiday alone. Otherwise, it's going to be helpful. That's how powerful they are. So are we prepared for them? Certainly, yes. Especially when it comes to the beach resorts and also some of the safari lodges. City hotels, these are one-nighters, two-nighters at most. But a challenge I will give to Vickie and the city hotels, especially in Nairobi, I normally see weekend goes down completely dead. And they start attracting the Nairobi guys because pockets are getting emptier, people are broke, and they'll still like to do, you know, you tell somebody, look here, on a Friday, pack your bags as you leave the house, I'll pick you, and we go to Hotel X. Well, the husband is at the pub or whatever having his drink, the wife is at the spa, the kids are enjoying themselves, and a weekend well spent. Sunday afternoon, you check out. That's some of the things that probably Nairobi guys really need to look into. So domestic and millennials, that's what I will say. But for millennials, we really need to be available for them as well and visible in the digital space. On Tuesday, we have a webinar for digital space hosted by KTF and KTB. And I would like as many people as possible, especially the attendees here, to take time and make sure that you register for that. Because the millennials are not looking for brochures. They're not looking for newspaper ads. They're not looking for TV ads. Yes. They are looking at YouTube. They're looking at Instagram. The question for you, is your hotel, is your activity Instagrammable? You know, do you have such a wonderful thing that somebody would like to show off? If you don't, I'm sorry, then you'll be left by the trade. Then another question also that has been raised here by Johnson. Johnson is asking, international brands, they were planning to come to Nairobi, planning to come to Kenya. Do you think they're still interested? My message to Johnson is very simple. The international brands, yes. The international brands, yes. However, the investors, 80% are Kenyans. The guy who puts in the money, the cement and mortar, are actually Kenyan. You put up a hotel and you partner with an international brand and you say, you know what, please come and manage my hotel. So as long as a Kenyan is willing to do that, international brands will be more than happy to come over and manage. And I must commend the like of Radisson and all the international chains who came to Nairobi. People may say it's competition. I don't see it that way. The fact that we have international chains in Nairobi has put Kenya on the world map. You know, you've got the Marriott, you've got the Radisson, you've got serious brands coming to Nairobi because there are people who buy brands, there are people who believe in brands. Yeah. Today, Zanzibar is harassing us, the Kenyan coast, because we don't have a single international brand here at the coast. But if we got, let's say today, a Radisson, we got a Hyatt, we got a Marriott, we got, Ritz-Carlton's, Four Seasons, that is going to change the entire, paradigm. Yeah. We're going to experience a paradigm shift. And I believe all is not lost. We will be back. I think we just took some time off. And hopefully also this COVID-19 crisis is also a wake-up call for our government to make sure that we invest in health system. One of the reasons why we could not do a lockdown is because we have not invested in the health system. We've also not invested in social system. We just did not know what has hit us. But I just hope that we learn from this and we make sure that we also save for a rainy day. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Mohammed, on your end, any parting shots, any advice to individuals who are in the industry and are looking forward to a time after the pandemic?
My message is very simple. I consider myself an optimist, and I always say that as always, I remain an optimist. My message to Kenyans, and not only the attendees here, we love sharing what is negative about our country more than anybody else. Let me tell you this, you'll hardly get a Nigerian bashing his own country. You hardly get a Tanzanian talk ill about their country. They will challenge the systems, yes, but they're not the first ones, to wash their dirty linen in the open. I also raise issues. I'm not happy with many things that government is doing wrong, but I raise them in a constructive way. But there are people who actually get a lot of joy. It's like they have another Kenya. They ban this Kenya and they'll move to another Kenya. My message to them, even Americans don't talk ill about their country. Let us start with ourselves as tourism players. Let us put our best foot forward. Let us tell the world how fantastic the place is. Only then will people come here. When you come on TV and you're lamenting how bad things are, then you expect somebody else. Nobody is looking to partner with somebody in crying and lamenting. Nobody wants anybody negative. When you lament too much, let me tell you, even good will just take off. They just peep and say, hey, I don't belong here. They go away. So you will only go to a place that is happy, resilient. Challenges are there, we will deal with them. With those remarks, once again, Alan, thank you very much. And thank you to Boma International College. And looking forward to more interactions.
Great, thank you very much to our viewers, ladies and gentlemen. In summary, we are facing a challenge, okay, that is a fact. We cannot run away from that. Okay, we need to ensure that we are up to date with new demands, okay, and the industry is bouncing back for sure. An investment in tourism and hospitality education, as we have heard, is promising for the future. Okay? So join us next week for another episode of the Utopia of Hospitality. I wish you all a wonderful weekend. Keep safe, okay, and take care of yourself. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.